the SM57, the humble microphone from Shure. Guitarists and producers worldwide use it on everything, but I have heard tell that they sound different from one another, they might be inconsistent. You hear talk of older ones being better than newer ones. So today's video is going to be based on the SM57 and modifying them with these audio transformer handles from Crimson Audio. Now, heads up at the start, this is not a sponsored video. These are all SM57s that I have bought, and this silver one, which I'll talk about shortly, and the Crimson Audio orange transformer handles I bought as well, full price, no discounts, no sponsorships, no nothing. This is just me being interested and being a nerd. So what I'm doing today is I'm using something you will have heard on the channel many times, the guitar loop from the theme tune. I will make some more guitar loops soon, I'm sorry, it is going to get a bit repetitive, but first thing we're going to do is see which one of these sounds best. Best is subjective, of course, but I've got an almost brand new Shure SM57 that's been used for an hour, maybe two, straight out of the box, one of the new Made in Mexico ones. I've got another one that is also a bone stock, I think Made in Mexico one, but this one has got a lot of dints and scars, and this one has been kind of round the block with me in the studio. This one has done hundreds or thousands of hours of recordings. This one, I did a video about this a long time ago. I modified this by doing a few things to it. I removed the transformer from this one entirely. I think this is also a Made in Mexico one, but I also put a resistor across the terminals. I modified the basket so there's no foam in there, and the disc in there is weighted down with layers of foil. So we'll see how this one sounds. And this technically isn't an SM57, but it can be considered by some to be in the same family. This is a model 545. 545L to be specific. This, I believe, is transformerless. But it's designed that way. This was made in USA, and this is made with the Shure Unidyne 3 capsule, which is the predecessor to the SM57 capsule. So let's put all these up now, back to back, and see how different they sound before we do any modifications. So definitely interesting there that the brand new one and the one that's been around the block sounded very similar. The modified one obviously sounded very different. And to me, the 545L sounded very much like the new 57s. They weren't exactly the same, but they were close enough for a lot of people, you know? So if that's your thing, just go out and buy a stock 57. But that's where these mods come in, because this is a handle from, I'm dropping it, Crimson Audio in America. And like I said, I paid full price for this. There's no discount for me. and this has 3 wires, so you take the handle off your 57. If it is a 57, you get rid of the black one, you don't need it. You wire these two onto the terminals of the capsule, screw it all together, boom. Because the way that I modified that one with the white on the handle, I had to boil the transformer out of the handle because it's hot glued in, which stops it rattling around. And that's a very messy process. I had to use an old pan that got thrown away afterwards. It actually took a load of the chips off the paint as well. But, like I say, this black wire they've included is a ground wire because the design of the 545 is a little different. So they've done that so that you can have these on a 545. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, from what I've decided from these, modify the very first one we did, which is the brand new 57, and I'm going to modify the 545. So it's time to get the soldering iron out, get the camera on that, and then we'll do some more captures in there. Alright, so mandatory safety notice, make sure you got proper ventilation when you're doing soldering. I've got a full aircon system with air filtration venting system here, so I'm okay, but yeah, do it in a well ventilated area. Whilst I'm soldering in this little segue, I should probably mention, because some people are going to start complaining in the comments about, oh, the movement of the microphone could be a big difference. You'll see from this footage here that I used tape measures down to the millimeter and got all of these in the exact same place. I'm using an 808 tube screamer in front of a PV5150 Mark I into this Wharfdale cabinet, which is one of my secret weapons. It sounds a bit like a vintage 30, a bit like a Creamback 75, and I use that on a lot of recordings, so I found the speaker I like the best, the position that is kind of the most appropriate, which is just off the cap, an inch back from where the grill would be, which gave me specifically 9.5 centimeters from the dust cap and 19.5 centimeters from the edge of the wood on the right hand side. So if you want to get specific, down to the millimeter, every one of these is in the same position. So any difference you are hearing is the microphone itself. Another thing that's probably worth mentioning is the 545 in its unmodified state was about 10 dB quieter than the other 3 microphones, so I had to boost it in the edit by exactly 10 dB, which is probably why it sounded so similar to the new 57s. Now, the 545 and the stock 57 are done. I put some red tape on them as well, so we know which one's which. And I've just run them through and have a listen to the results. I'll do each one back to back with its stock counterpart. a lot less difference than I thought. One thing that I will note is that the Crimson 57 came in 3 dB hotter than the stock, and the 545 came in 13 dB louder because of the transformer. It was previously transformerless. I expected a bit more, to be honest, but what can you do? It's being blasted quite hard to the transformer. If it was going to saturate, it's going to be doing that. It might be enough for some people. I don't regret doing it. I'm going to keep these, and especially the 545 now being in a decent handle and not having all this fixed to it permanently with this kind of worn out old cable. That I'm grateful for, and so I'm going to be using these more in the future. What surprised me most is now the Crimson 545 sounds so much like the other 57s, and I'll do now back to back the 2 stock 57s and the Crimson 57 and modded 545, and you'll see how similar they are. There's a tiny bit of difference, but because I was millimeter accurate with the mic positioning, we took as much variable out as possible, and I'm kind of surprised. But yeah, especially that 545 is now usable for me. So that was worth the transformer mod because it didn't previously have a transformer. I'm wondering now as well if I should get some more of those handles, depending on cost of course, and put them on some of the 57 clones that are transformerless. Who knows? But there you go. I hope you found this interesting. I certainly did, and I was surprised at the results. Let me know in the comments if you expected more difference or didn't expect any difference. And yeah, it's strange because this was recommended to me by Andy Sneap, and he's got kind of what I would consider golden ears. If he can hear a difference, maybe there is a difference. Maybe the transformer in one of his 57s wasn't right and that fixed the issue. That's a maybe, I'm supposing at this point. So who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Huge thanks to the patrons on Patreon who enable me to do videos like this. Huge thanks to everybody watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.